There was a morning, just like any other. I got out of bed. But after just a few steps, everything went blurry and I found myself on the floor. No blood, no broken bones. But inside, I felt a shock. Not from the fall itself, but from the question that echoed right after. What if no one had been home today? I'm 63 years old, not young anymore, but I didn't think I was fragile enough to be afraid of falling. Yet from that moment on, I started to re-examine every small habit in my life and I realized there are things we assume are harmless, but they quietly steal our balance, our confidence, and even our independence. Today, I want to share with you 14 silent mistakes that most women over 60 are making, things as small as the slippers we wear indoors, the glass of water we forget to drink, or the light we don't turn on in the bathroom. But these are exactly the things that cause 99% of older women to lose their balance, leading to anxiety, insecurity, and the fear of being alone. This video isn't just a warning. It's a gentle reminder that you still have the power to live safely, independently, and stronger than you think. Please stay until the end, because sometimes just one small change can save a life. 1. Wearing the wrong shoes. Have you ever thought that the shoes you wear could change your life? I never did. I used to think, if they fit, look okay, and I'm used to them, then they're fine. But one afternoon in March, while wearing my old slippers to water the garden, something unexpected happened. It was just one step down a step I had taken 100 times before. But this time, my foot slipped. Fast, unexpected, and I couldn't react in time. My knee hit the ground. My hand slammed into a flower pot. No broken bones, no blood. But the feeling shaky, embarrassed, and shaken, I'll never forget it. What made me think wasn't the fallit was the reason behind it. The slippers I was wearing were too soft, had no grip, and offered no ankle support. I started to look into it and discovered a truth many of us overlook after 60. Our feet are not the same anymore. We lose natural cushioning. Our reflexes slow down. And the shoes that worked for us 10 years ago may now be a trap. Slippery soles, flimsy flats, or soft foam sandals, what we think is comfort, can actually make us unstable and unable to catch ourselves when we trip. So I switched to a different pair. Lightweight, snug, with anti-slip soles. At first, they felt bulky, not the dainty kind of shoes I was used to. But within days, I noticed the difference. Every step felt more grounded. I didn't hesitate going upstairs or walking across wet tile. Shoes aren't just for style. For those of us over 60, they're our first line of defense. Choose shoes like you choose a loyal companion. Deep rubber grip, stable heels, soft insole support and ankle protection. Snug, not too loose, not too tight. Don't let fear of looking old cost you your safety. Today, you can choose steady shoes. And tomorrow, you can walk with confidence again. Aging doesn't make you weak, but the wrong shoes can make you fall. Start by changing the smallest thing to protect the greatest thing, your freedom. 2. Neglecting muscle strength. Why do I feel so weak lately? I used to ask myself this when trying to stand up from the couch. I needed my hands for support. My legs would tremble. Once, I hesitated to pick something up from the floor, almost as if my body was asking, "Are you sure you can do this?" It wasn't illness. It wasn't injury. It was something I had ignored for years. Muscle strength. When we're young, we don't think about muscle. Climbing stairs? Easy. Carrying groceries? No problem. But after 60, our bodies quietly take back what we don't use strength. No one told me that losing muscle is one of the biggest reasons older adults lose balance. And the scary part? It happens silently, like a shadow. One day, you struggle with steps. Then, you start avoiding outings. Then, you stay home more because your body no longer feels like a trusted companion. I started simple. No gym, no running. Just using water bottles as light weights in the morning, standing up from a chair without using hands, 5 times each night. Gentle wall push-ups like saying hello to the strength I'd forgotten. At first, I was sore. I felt discouraged. But then, I stood up more easily. I carried the fruit basket without huffing. And something surprising happened. My mind felt stronger too. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. Just 10-15 minutes a day, 3 times a week. It's not just exercise, it's a commitment to yourself. That you're not giving up. That you're still moving forward. Final note. Strength isn't about muscle. It's in the quiet decision to stand up and say, I still can. And yes, you still can. Starting today. 3. Ignoring vision changes. I used to think my eyes were fine. I could read the paper, watch television, and see the neighbor's cat crossing the yard. So what was there to worry about? That all changed one night. I woke at 2 a.m. to use the bathroom. Didn't turn on the light, didn't want to wake my husband. I moved slowly, following the path I knew. But then, I tripped on the corner of the rug. And I fell. Not seriously hurt, but I'll never forget that moment. The panic, the confusion, the loss of confidence. After that, I had my eyes checked. The doctor said, your night vision has declined significantly. I was stunned, because I could see. But what I didn't notice was blurriness, dimness, distortion. And when those things are just slightly off, your body loses direction, balance, and stability. So I began doing 3 small things. Getting regular eye exams before things get blurry. Wearing properly fitted glasses with anti-glare, especially at night or on cloudy days. Installing extra lights in key places, hallways, bathrooms, bedside. Those little lights at 2 a.m. gave me a sense of safety I didn't even know I needed. Final note. Vision is like a quiet compass. When it's off, your entire sense of direction falters. Don't let your eyes mislead you just because you think you can still see. Take care of them, so every step you take is steady, and life stays bright in every way. 4. Chronic sleep deprivation. Some mornings, I wake up feeling like I never slept at all. My body's heavy. My mind's foggy. Every step out of bed is slow, uncertain. I used to blame the weather or age, but deep down, I knew I hadn't slept well, and it had been going on for months. I used to think sleep deprivation just made me moody or tired. But then one day, walking down the garden steps to water my plants, I missed a step. Not because of poor vision, not because of slippery floors, because I reacted too slowly. My foot stepped down before my brain could respond. My body wasn't alert enough to coordinate. That moment made me realize, sleep deprivation isn't just a feeling, it's a real risk. Did you know that getting fewer than 6 hours of sleep a night slows your central nervous system? The brain doesn't recover. Muscles don't relax. Reflexes dull. And all of that doubles your fall risk even in your own home. So I had to learn how to sleep again. Not with pills, but with small shifts. Turning off the television and phone at least 1 hour before bed. Drinking warm water instead of tea or coffee. Reading a few pages or listening to soft music. And most importantly, allowing myself to rest without guilt. Because as women, we're so used to caring for others, we forget we need to recharge too. Final note. Poor sleep is not a minor issue. It quietly makes you weaker physically and emotionally. Cherish your sleep the way you cherish a safe home. Deep, warm, and peaceful enough for healing. Because a good night's sleep today is a steady step tomorrow. 5. Not checking and managing blood pressure. That morning, I had just stood up from the sofa when everything started spinning. The ceiling seemed to tilt. A sharp pain shot through my head, and I had to grip the armrest tightly just to keep from falling. It wasn't a heart problem. I wasn't overly tired. It was just a sudden drop in blood pressure when I changed positions, something I had never thought about before. I used to believe high blood pressure was the dangerous one. Low blood pressure? No big deal. Some people even think a little low keeps you young. But the truth is not that simple. For older adults, especially women over 60, our bodies no longer regulate blood pressure as quickly as they used to. When you sit for a long time and suddenly stand up, blood can't reach the brain fast enough, causing dizziness, lightheadedness, or even fainting. It's called orthostatic hypotension, and it's a silent reason behind countless falls inside the homes of older people. After that day, I started paying more attention. Not with fear, but with mindfulness. I began to check my blood pressure weekly at home with a simple monitor. Never stand up to. Quickly sit up. Take a deep breath. Count to 3. Then rise. Stay hydrated throughout the day, because dehydration thins the blood and increases the chance of pressure drops. It cost nothing, took little time, but it gave me back a sense of control over my own body. Final note: blood pressure doesn't cause pain, so we often ignore it. But that silence hides the real danger. Don't wait until you feel dizzy to pay attention. Treat every blood pressure check like asking your body, "Hey there, are you doing okay today?" Caring for your blood pressure means every step you take can be steady even on the most ordinary mornings. 6. Ignoring side effects of medication. I used to think, if a doctor prescribes it, it must be safe. I took my meds faithfully, on time, never missed a dose. But over time, something started to feel off. I felt lightheaded when I stood up. Sometimes I had to stop mid-walk because of a strange floating sensation, like I couldn't find my footing. I blamed aging, maybe the weather. But one afternoon, while carrying groceries, I staggered and nearly fell. That's when I realized I couldn't ignore it anymore. That night, I sat down and actually read the medication leaflet, the one I used to just throw away. And in tiny letters at the bottom, I saw, "May cause dizziness, orthostatic hypotension, or affect balance." I was shocked. For 3 months, I had thought I was just getting weaker. But in reality, the medicine was quietly affecting me. Older adults often take multiple prescriptions: blood pressure meds, heart meds, sleep aids, joint supplements. And when combined, the side effects can sneak up on us without warning. Our bodies aren't 40 anymore. Even small changes can upset the entire system. So I began to keep a journal, listing every medication I took, with dose, time, and how I felt afterward, noting down any unusual symptoms: dizziness, fatigue, shakiness, racing heartbeat. I brought that journal to my doctor, and to my surprise, she adjusted my dosage. Within just a few weeks, the imbalance nearly disappeared. Final note: no one knows your body better than you. Medication can heal, but without awareness, it can also quietly harm. You have the right to ask questions, to speak up, to request changes, because it's your body and you live in it every day. Track your side effects like a form of self-love, quiet but powerful. 7. Relying on furniture instead of using a cane. At first I thought, I'm just steadying myself. I don't need a cane. I would walk from the living room to the kitchen, brushing my hand along the back of a chair, gripping the table, gliding along the wall. Not because I was weak, just being careful, I told myself. I never saw it as serious, just extra cautious. Until one day, while carrying a laundry basket, I couldn't lean on the wall like usual. I misstepped and nearly slammed into the sharp corner of a wooden table. I caught myself, thankfully, but my heart pounded for a long time afterward. Looking back, I realized something. Using the wall was my way of silently admitting I no longer felt confident walking on my own. But instead of facing that truth, I avoided it. Because in my mind, a cane meant old and fragile. It meant others would look at me like I'd lost my independence. Then one day, my daughter gently asked, "Mom, would you rather be free or be proud?" That woke me up. I went out and bought a cane, lightweight, sturdy, with a soft grip and a beautiful design. not like something from a hospital, more like an elegant accessory and extension of my hand. The first day I used it, I felt shy. But by day 2, 3, I noticed I wasn't afraid anymore. I walked more confidently. I no longer looked for walls to lean on. And I realized a cane isn't surrender. It's preparation. It's not a symbol of weakness. It's a tool that keeps you independent longer. Final note: if you often use furniture to get around the house, that's no longer caution. It's a warning sign. Listen to it. And choose the tool that helps you walk strong, not out of pride, but out of deep care for yourself. 8. Skipping balance exercises. Can you remember the last time you stood on one foot? I couldn't until that day at the senior center in a gentle yoga class. The instructor asked us to try standing on one foot for 10 seconds. Some did it. Some wobbled a little. As for me, I couldn't even hold it for 3 seconds before tilting hard to one side. I quickly put my foot down to avoid falling. The room gave a kind, understanding chuckle. But inside, something hit me hard. I had lost something I once took for granted: my balance. We often think balance is instinct. But in reality, if we don't use it, we lose it. When we're younger, we twist, climb stairs, step over cracks without thinking. But after 60, every safe step depends on coordination between muscles, vision, reflexes, and the brain, all of which only stay sharp if we train them regularly. No practice. The brain forgets how to balance. Every slip, rug corner, or wet bathroom floor becomes a risk. So I started small. Each morning, I stand on one foot while brushing my teeth, lightly holding the sink. I walk heel to toe from the living room to the balcony. A few times a week, I follow simple YouTube videos designed for seniors. No heavy workouts, no sweating buckets, just a few minutes a day. But after a few weeks, I walk down the porch steps with no hesitation. I could twist to grab something without losing my balance. And one morning I stepped outside, spread my arms, closed my eyes, and stood on one foot for 10 whole seconds. I laughed like a child. Final note: balance isn't just about preventing falls. It's about protecting your freedom to walk on your own feet with a strong heart and fearless spirit. Start today, even if it's just 1 foot, 5 seconds. Because every second you train is another second you're safeguarding a life that's safer, fuller, and more truly yours. 9. Not drinking enough water. One afternoon, I stood up from the sofa to grab a book. But as I took my first step, it felt like something was pulling me backward. The room wasn't spinning, but my head was. I had to sit down quickly, holding my forehead, heart beating lightly but fast. I wasn't sick. I didn't have a fever. My blood pressure was perfectly normal. So what was going on? After several episodes like that, my doctor asked me a simple question. How much water do you drink every day? I didn't know what to say. I thought tea, soup, and fruit were enough. But plain water, the most basic thing, was what I had been neglecting. As we age, the body gets quieter. It doesn't signal thirst the way it used to. We get caught up in routines and only drink when we feel really thirsty. By then, it's often too late. Even mild dehydration can cause fatigue, dizziness, and poor focus. Worse, when blood thickens due to lack of water, the brain gets less oxygen, leading to imbalance. From that day on, I made some small but firm changes. I keep a glass of water by my bed, drink it before getting up each morning. I carry a small water bottle with me, even if I'm just walking to the kitchen. I track every glass I drink in a notebook, like a little game to motivate myself. I no longer feel lightheaded. My skin looks healthier. I sleep better. And most importantly, I walk with more steadiness than before. Final note: water seems too simple to mention, but it's the very thing we underestimate that keeps our bodies strong, clear, and calm. Love yourself with the simplest act. Drink enough water every day. Not just when you're thirsty, but because you deserve a grounded, vibrant, and peaceful body. 10. Living in a fall-prone environment. I've lived in this house for over 30 years. Every step, every tile, I could walk it with my eyes closed. Or at least, that's what I used to think. Until one early morning, I headed to the kitchen along the same path as always, and my foot caught on the corner of an old shaggy rug. I stumbled. The fall wasn't serious, but my knee was bruised for a week. And the worst pain wasn't physical, it was emotional. I just fell in the very place I thought was the safest. We often treat home as the ultimate safe space. But that comfort can blind us to hidden dangers. The silent traps we've lived with for so long, we no longer see the risk. A frayed rug edge, a charging cable stretched across the hallway, a staircase with no handrail, a bathroom with slippery tiles and no grab bars. These aren't loud, they don't warn us. But one moment of distraction-known misstep, and they can turn an independent woman into someone who suddenly needs help. After that fall, I looked at my home with new eyes, like someone seeing it for the first time. I asked myself, if this were my daughter's house, would I think it's safe? The answer was no. So I made changes. I removed all loose rugs and replaced them with anti-slip mats. I installed LED motion sensor lights in hallways and bathrooms. I taped down cords and rearranged furniture to widen pathways. I added grab bars on stairs and in the bathroom, not waiting until I got weaker. It didn't cost much. I didn't have to remodel. But suddenly, my home felt like a quiet guardian, keeping me safe in every step. Final note. You've spent your life caring for this home. Now it's time for this home to take care of you. Let it become not just your shelter but your protector. 11. Ignoring ear and vestibular health. At first, it was just a little unsteadiness when I turned my head quickly. Then, while cooking, I had to pause for a few seconds because of a sudden lightheaded feeling. I chalked it up to being tired or just getting older. But one day, while folding laundry, I bent down and then stood up. Everything spun, just for a few seconds, but enough to make me stumble into the bed frame. For the first time ever, I felt disoriented. In my own bedroom, it wasn't my eyes, it wasn't my heart. It was something I'd never considered. My inner ear and the vestibular system. Most people don't realize that the ear does more than hear. Inside it is a delicate system called the vestibular system, which acts like a sensor telling the body what's up, down, left, and right. If this system becomes unbalanced even slightly, we lose spatial awareness. We sway. Our heads spin, as if the floor is tilted. And worst of all, many people think it's just normal dizziness and ignore it. I saw an ENT specialist. The diagnosis? Mild vestibular disorder and impacted earwax in one ear. Treatment was gentle. I was taught simple head-turning exercises. And within weeks, it felt like I had regained my body's internal compass. Now, I listen to my body through my ears. If I feel dizzy when turning my head, if I hear ringing, buzzing, or trouble following conversations in noisy rooms, if I feel lost in space even though my vision is fine, I get my ears checked. Not because my ears are broken, but because they're quietly asking for help. Final note. Some things can't be seen yet affect every step you take. Don't let the silence of your ears become the reason you fall. Protect your hearing to protect your balance and your rhythm in life. 12. Lacking protein and vitamin D. I used to think, eating less is good, it keeps the weight off. One small bowl of rice, barely any meat. Breakfast, just tea and a few biscuits. It felt light. It felt enough. But after a while, my body began to feel loose. My grip weakened. My legs got slower. Climbing stairs left me winded. I blamed aging until a health check revealed the truth. I was low in protein and vitamin D2 essentials for muscle and bone health after 60. What shocked me was this. I wasn't under-eating. I was undernourished. After 60, the body doesn't absorb nutrients as well. Muscle mass fades without fuel. Proteinonce, thought of as for gym buffs, is the secret to maintaining strength, recovering from falls, and staying self-sufficient. And vitamin D? If you rarely go in the sun, if you mostly stay indoors, you're probably deficient. Vitamin D doesn't just help bones, it supports calcium absorption, immune health, and emotional energy. So I adjusted my meals gently. A boiled egg in the morning, or steamed fish at lunch. A glass of calcium-rich milk instead of afternoon coffee. 15 minutes of direct sunlight. Daily, no windows, no heavy layers. And if needed, I consulted my doctor for safe supplements. It didn't cost much. No feast required. But my body began to feel stronger. I felt more solid, less pain, and I walked downstairs with confidence again. Final note: your body doesn't need a lot, just the right amount. Nourish yourself like a garden daily, gently and lovingly. When you're well fed, you're strong. And when you're strong, you're free. 13. Not practicing reflexes and coordination. Not long ago, I dropped a spoon on the floor. What scared me wasn't the sound, but the fact that I didn't even try to catch it. I just watched it fall slowly, like in a movie. While my hand stayed still, I started noticing more things. When someone called my name while I was walking, I turned my head slowly. When a dish slipped while washing, I didn't react fast enough to save it. And I realized my reflexes were slowing down. Not because I was lazy, but because I had stopped training them. Reflexes like hand-foot coordination don't stay sharp on their own. They're like an old instrument. If you don't play it, it stops singing. This delay is why many older people can't react in time to stop a fall, a missed hand catch, a stumble not corrected. It all starts with a forgotten reflex. So where did I begin? Tossing a small ball in the morning, catching it with both hands, then switching sides. Placing soft obstacles, pillows, stools, and walking around them, staying upright. Walking slowly to music, each step on beat, like a gentle dance. Just 5-10 minutes a day. But after a month, I turned my head faster. My hands moved more naturally. And deep down, something beautiful returned. I felt alive again. Final note: age may slow us down, but reflexes can be retrained with patience and self-love. Start with a softball today. Not to save a spoon, but to save your belief in yourself. 14. Not adjusting habits in wet areas. I used to think, it's just a little water on the floor, no big deal. One morning after a shower, I stepped out. My feet were still damp. The tiles were cool. Then I heard the phone ring. I rushed, just a little, and right where water had dripped from my hair, I slipped. I fell sideways. Shoulder hit the wall. Hip hit the floor. Nothing broke, but something far more important was lost. My calm and confidence right inside my own home. I used to walk barefoot proudly. Thought I knew every inch of this house. But the most familiar place's bathroom, kitchenette, also the most dangerous. Water, oil, slippery tiles, dim lighting. Fall outside, and someone might help. Fall alone inside, and the damage physically and emotionally can linger much longer. So I changed my habits. No more bare feet. I now wear light, slip-resistant slippers at home. I keep towels near sinks to dry spills immediately. I placed anti-slip mats in the bathroom and kitchen places I once thought were safe. No one made me do it, but I understood. Changing habits doesn't mean I'm weak. It means I respect every step I take more than ever before. Final note: just because you've lived in your home for 20 years doesn't mean you can't fall in it. Aging doesn't forgive little oversights, but self-love begins with being willing to change, even if it's just swapping slippers or wiping a single drop of water. Because every time you step safely across a wet floor, you are choosing safety, awareness, and freedom. Final words. You may have thought that losing balance is just a natural part of aging. But after more than 60 years on this earth, I've come to understand. It's not age that makes us fall. It's the little things we forgot to care for. Each pair of shoes, each night's sleep, each step in the bathroom. The smallest details quietly shape your strength, both physical and emotional. Today, you've heard about 14 silent but dangerous mistakes and simple ways to change them. You don't have to fix them all at once. Just choose one each day. And do it with love for yourself. Because every safe step is a step closer to freedom, closer to confidence, closer to a life where you don't fear falling, but walk tall, with peace in your heart. If this video helped you, leave a comment. Which change will you start with? Your story might help another woman live more safely tomorrow. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone you love. Your mom, your aunt, a friend. Because every woman deserves to walk strong, even at 60, 70, or 80. See you in the next video.